This is the only advice you need with business success speaker, Matt Hyams. Today we're talking about onboarding. We're going to talk about rooms of fur, knowing everyone's triggers, and massaging people's backs. All right, let's do this. How do you welcome a new member to the team? Well, the first thing is don't just send an email and say, hey, welcome. Everyone welcome John to the team. That's not going to do anything. An email doesn't create comfort. Do you want to create comfort? Then here's an idea. Make them comfortable. And how do you do that? Well, give them soft things. That's how people feel comfortable. When you want to feel comfortable, do you lie on a bed of nails? Or do you get into bed with a comfy comforter, something furry? Do you cozy up with your dog or your cat? Maybe a hamster or a guinea pig, if you're one of those types of people. For instance, at my company, the first hour that anyone spends on their first day at my company is spent in a room full of fur. We have a room of fur. That's right. We have a fur room. And this is animal skins with their original fur. Now, these are dead animals. We've taken the bodies and the guts out. We've kept the skin and the fur. We've preserved it. These are not fur coats. These are actual carcasses. The bones and guts are gone, but we still have the fur. And we've got all kinds, because I don't know who I'm hiring. What are they going to like? Everyone's different. Not everyone wants mink, for instance. So I make sure I've got everything. I've got bear fur, polar bear fur. I do have minks, though, just in case. I've got seal. I've got regular house cats that I found. Don't worry about why I have them. We've got golden retriever fur. We've got raccoon, fox, wolf. So how does that work? Well, someone will come in for an interview. They walk in, they say, hey, I'm here for the job. A lot of people, you walk in an interview, you're saying, you're going to expect to have a receptionist maybe seat you in a waiting area. Maybe someone greet you and walk you back somewhere. That's not what happens. We're expecting you, first of all. So when you walk in and you say, hey, I'm here for the job, with 2 large men and 2 large women, because we believe in equal opportunity, 2 of the largest men and 2 of the largest women you've ever seen. Sometimes they're Samoan. Just 2 large human beings, okay? It doesn't matter. They're both genders and genderless, because I want to make sure, DEI, we have non-binary large human beings too. And so 2 large non-binary, just 2 people. We're getting too specific. Look, it's just 2 large people. So before they can even say, hey, I'm here, it's my first day, they get a bag over their head and they get whisked away, terrorist style. They get a bag over their head like a black sack, put that over their head, and they get whisked away to this room of fur, because I want them to have a sensory deprivation experience, because I really want them to feel comfortable. And if they can see and touch and they know where they're going, they're going to immediately have their biases are going to kick in. Hey, who's that guy? What's that office? Oh, I'd love to work here. Hey, that looks like a nice, kitchen. Oh, what's that person? I'm attracted to them. Oh, I'm not attracted to them. Wait, what's going on here? So I don't want them to have any senses going on. I just want them to have the black sack, because before they know it, the room of fur is not far. That's maybe my first tip, is if you are going to have a room of fur, don't make it too far, because their fear will kick in. You got to have your sight blocked out. You got to not know where you're going. And they get to that room of fur, and when they do, guess what happens? Their whole body relaxes, and they settle into that room of fur, and they go, I don't know where I am, and I can't see anything, but this is very soft. That's a direct quote. In case you're wondering if this works, it does. Some people, they say, I don't know where I am, and I can't see anything, and I'm scared. Yes, this is soft, but is it alive? And am I safe? And we don't answer those questions, because we really need them to just be alone for a moment, okay? So the room is dark. So even if they take off the sack, which they're free to do, we're not, this isn't ISIS over here. They won't be able to see anything. The room is vacuum sealed. It's a former panic room. And it's a current panic room too. It works. It worked in the past and it works in the present. So there's no way they can see anything. It's a sensory deprivation room full of fur. And that really enables them to just get soft immediately, because we want someone to feel soft when they come to work, so that they're vulnerable and receptive to new ideas. When you're soft, That fur softens you up, so you're open to new ideas. I don't need people coming to work with their own preconceptions about what it is to do anything in this world. I want to wipe the slate clean. I need them open. I need them soft and open. And so we will say that through a PA into that room of fur. A disembodied voice will come into them, and they don't know, they can't tell exactly where the voice is coming from, but a voice will come and says, we need you soft and open, which is also a sign that we have when you first exit the elevator. It says, we need you soft and open. And some people find that disturbing, to be honest with you. Some people find it comforting to be soft and open. Some people are like, you need me soft and open? They ask into the darkness, into the void. Is something about to happen to me that I don't like? And again, we don't answer those questions. Okay, we just need them soft and open. The only thing we do say back to them if they ask those questions in the room, we go, soft and open. We just say those words, soft and open. And we have a little xylophone music that gets pumped in. It goes, doon, doon, dee, doo, soft and open. So it's dark. There's little xylophone sounds, soft and open, room full of fur, helps them settle in. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, well, fur isn't everyone's fabric of choice. And you're right. And we know that. So fur isn't always the gateway to be soft and open. Not everyone reacts to fur the same way. Some people have allergic reactions. They might break out or they might have trouble breathing. And we don't always find out about that until it's too late. So that's another issue. So you have to do a little reconnaissance before their first day, find out what fabrics they're really into. We take a look at their clothing. During the interview, we say, okay, this person has leather shoes. They like leather. So we might put them in the room of leather. We have different rooms. It's not just fur. We might put them in a leather room of sealskin. We might put them in a room of metal fencing on the floor if we see that they're really into metal jewelry or metal, all kinds of metal. We've got a leather room. We've got a fur room. We have rooms. We have one room, it's just all sealskin, because near the freight elevator, we can club these seals. We have a seal delivery every day. So we get fresh sealskin. So that's the first thing we do with the onboards. We get them comfortable in the room, whether it's fur, sealskin, leather, metal, whatever. And then they're soft and open. And the next stage is to get them comfortable is we say, well, what's your favorite food? And if they're like, well, I love pizza, then, we say, okay, here's 12 pies. And then we watch them eat them. Even if it's in the morning, we just watch them. We're like, okay, here's the food you said you love. And they're like, and sometimes they're like, well, thank you, but can I eat this at lunch? We're like, no, we want you to feel comfortable now. So we'd like you to eat it now. And we all come together as a company and we say, welcome, Sharon or whoever. And we say, welcome, Sharon. And we gather in a circle around Sharon in the center and we watch her eat her favorite food. Could be ice cream, whatever. Doesn't matter. So they have a little taste and they're like, thank you. It's delicious. Thank you so much for giving me my favorite food. And we're like, we'll have a little more. We want to see you eat. Because if we can get them comfortable eating, then we're going to have less trouble later on when it's brainstorming time. Because we're all going to be eating lunch during those brainstorming meetings. A lot of times they're so concerned about people watching them eat that they can't think about two things at once. So we're like, we need new ideas. And they're just thinking, is everybody looking at me eat this tuna sandwich? Do I have a tuna sandwich on my mouth? Or mayonnaise? Do I look like an old person in a nursing home? Am I disgusting everyone? Am I reminding them of their own mortality? The answer is yes. And that's why I need you to get comfortable eating at the beginning so that we can just get your best ideas out of you and you can eat while you think. So I don't need people worrying about what they look like when they're eating and having that affect their ability to come up with ideas or just say things, feel confident. So we want to just make sure they feel comfortable eating. So we just say, please keep eating, okay? And then they can get over that stigma of what it's like to eat in front of people. So we circle them and we move in a circle around them too. We're always moving. And sometimes they look at us and we say, don't you look at us. Just concentrate on eating as much as you can. And we keep circling. They've just come from the room of fur. Now they're eating their favorite food. And this is the onboarding process, making them feel comfortable about that process. So at a certain point, they get pretty full. And we go take a nap back in your favorite room. Some people might change the room at that point. Someone might have been in the room of fur at the beginning and say, I'd like to change. I'd like to try that seal room. I've always wanted to take a little nap in a room made of seal skin. And we say, go right ahead. And we'll turn the lights on for them at that point. We're not crazy. So that first day isn't even about work. That's what I want to stress to you, If you want to have a positive onboarding experience, don't make the first day about work. You want to get them acclimated and feel comfortable around everybody. You don't want to bombard them with the job right away. You want to make them feel like this is a family first and a company second. If there's one thing you take away from this episode is get that in your head. Get that into your stupid head. A family first and a company second. And we have them sign a little document even that they agree to that statement, that this is a family first and a company second. So in case, in the future, if they say, oh, I need to go home, for the holidays, or I have to go to the hospital, someone's sick, we say, well, you signed a document that says this is your family. The company's your family. And they use, sometimes people say, well, I thought you meant that sort of metaphorically, like we're a work family. We say, no. This is your new family. And we had you sign that document to know, so that you know that you're now part of this family. And so that takes care of that. So make sure they know it's a family first and a company second, and that it's their new family. So getting back to the nap, they either nap after they're eating their favorite food, or they don't nap. So whether they do it, after they come out of that, or they decide I don't need the nap, we all take turns massaging their back in their chair. And this is a metaphor. If you want to talk about metaphors, this is a metaphor to tell them we've got your back. And there's over 50 people in my company, so that's 50 pairs of hands on your back. And you're going to feel pretty darn good. Because once we start, we don't stop. Once you get all those hands, about 30 seconds to a minute of each pair of hands, giving your back a good massage. Some people are sensitive. So this is to desensitize them to touch and to really show that we have your back. It's literal. It's an interpretation of the expression we have your back, because we will have it in our hands at that moment. And we want you to know that we have it, and we can get it if we need it. So it's not just a metaphor. It's also to make you really understand that we can get your back if we need it. So don't try to resist us getting your back, because we do have it, and we'll always have it. And when they do finally sit down to their computer, the first email that says, the subject line is, we have your back. And they're actually reading that as we're massaging them. So it's a double whammy. They read we have your back in the email, and they know it's true because we have it in that moment in our hands. They're reading it as we're massaging them. So they've eaten, they've been massaged, and then they sit down, and then they really get to know everybody. They meet everyone. And these are one-on-one sessions with everyone in the company. And everyone tells them their life story, how they grew up, what kind of parenting style they have, if they have kids and a family, and what it's like to work there. And we only allow the positive stories. The people who have negative stories, we don't let them share those. They're also not in the company anymore. Anyway, so they listen to everyone's life story from the beginning, their childhood, their trauma, what their work experience is like, where they went to high school, college, boyfriends, girlfriends, their sexual histories, whether they've had an abortion or not. All of these stories, whether they were beaten or abused, any abuse they might have had. They listen to all these stories of everyone's lives. I tell everyone, all the employees, when we get into this, I say, really tell the new hire about any trauma you have. Tell them about your life struggles. Stick to those stories, because I want to promote psychological safety. Ding, ding, ding should be going off in your head right now. That's another tip you need to take away, is you need to promote psychological safety. I know that if everyone knows everyone's struggles, then that creates a sensitive workplace, where they're not going to make statements that might be offensive to someone or hurt someone's feelings or trigger or be a trigger. If you know everyone's triggers, then you know their trauma and their personal stories, and you're not going to step on them. You're going to be more likely not to step on them or trigger them. And then we have them share theirs. And if we hear anything positive going on, if they start saying, well, I don't have much trauma, I had a pretty easy life, we cut them off. We say, don't be Obama, get to the trauma, which is our little inside joke. We're not against Obama. It's just that he's so positive, yes, we can, always about the hope. We're like, we don't need that right now. That's for another time. Obama's great, and he had his time and place, but right now, we don't need you to be Obama. So don't be Obama, get to the trauma, show us what's lying underneath, show us what your trigger points are. Because not only does it promote psychological safety, where they'll know everyone else's trigger points and everyone knows each other's trauma so they can be more sensitive, but also I need it as a leader, because when I know your trigger points, that helps get work done. Because then I can say, someone has issues like they weren't loved by their mother, and they hand in something, some report or some project, some task, and I don't like it. I can say, this work you turned in looks like somebody who didn't receive enough love in their childhood. Why don't you go back and take another pass at it? But this time, do it as someone who did get enough love in their childhood. Sometimes they're like, you put me through this whole thing during the onboarding where you said, don't be Obama, get to the trauma. And I thought this was a safe place where my trauma would be helping. We're like, that was the onboarding. Now you got to put the trauma behind you. We got to grow. Use the obstacles as opportunities. Because I don't like people using these excuses. Setbacks are opportunities. I remind them of that. I tell them that. These are just a few things. Room a fur, massage their backs, make them eat as much of their favorite food as possible. Get everyone in your company to tell them their trauma, their struggles, and have the new hire tell their struggles. Promote psychological safety. Then use their trauma against them if they turn in work that you don't like. Remind them that setbacks are opportunities. And these are just a few things you can do to help people get comfortable immediately, to feel okay about being vulnerable, create a bonding effect with all the other employees and the new hire. Work it out. See what works for you. Do your best. All right. Thanks for listening this week. This is the only advice you need, and we'll be back next week.